once again, we have a division that deals with stuff like that. So imagine to their surprise when they're dealing with this thing along, when they can jack with things and mess with things, and they just don't understand how to deal with it. And guns can only take you so far, right? I mean, you can hold the wall, but you can stop a heart with them, but what are you going to do about something that doesn't abide by the rules of physics? And the rules, as they say, in the research, is that they never come in our umbrella. We always step in theirs. But, yeah. Now, there's a lot of good stuff like that. People who go dig find something. They do, every time. Everyone who goes to actually investigate and put in the time goes out there and they find something that changes their view of the world. They just do it professionally.
Yeah.
More time dedicated to it. Itchy tattoo?
No, kind of. It gets itchy every once in a while, I don't know. And even like it's puffy. Like the ink will puff up and stuff. It's already
Been there for a while.
almost 20 years old.
Either all or none, I guess, can you? Go to a,
So, who decided it was an appropriate place or appropriate thing to put that building there? It's on what they know. Is it because that they knew? And, well, that's just.
Did the other two members get notification?
They did respond. They said they were coming.
Okay, they'll probably run a little bit late then. But we'll go ahead and get started because it's 2:01. Roll call, please.
Dinah Minus. Alan Franken.
Here.
Michael Matoya.
Present.
Robert Ritters.
Present.
Francina Martinez.
And Dana's just working. So we do have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance. Would you lead us in pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Hi, Miss Dana. You can sit up here or wherever you want.
I fit for that little. It's like a tight squeeze.
No comment.
Approval of the agenda. Move to approve as presented.
And I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, we move forward. And approval of minutes of August the 15th, 2022.
I will move that we approve as written.
Thank you. I'll second. Second by Mr. Frankie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, seeing none, we move forward. Public input. Do we have any public input? None. Okay, and our intern, finance director will not be here today. And we will be Ms. Eleanor Duran will be, our general accountant will be presenting today's agenda or minutes and so forth. Okay. And no public input?
None.
Okay. So we'll move on to a business item. Discussion item. Resolution number 22-39.
The City of Las Vegas is in need of making a budget adjustment in the 22-23 fiscal year to include an increase to expense for Fund 217 for special legislative appropriation in the amount of $181,923. We are also requesting a decrease to Fund 217, Special Legislative Appropriation. This is for the Riverwalk construction, in the amount of $5,261. An increase in the expense to Fund 217, Legislative Appropriation. This is for the Las Vegas Park improvements, in the amount of $64,943. An increase as well to revenue and expense to Fund 217, Legislative Appropriation for El Creston Park, in the amount of $100,000. An increase to revenue and expenditures to Fund 106, Santa in the Park, in the amount of $5,000. An increase to revenue and expense to Fund 101, 4800, this is our PD, in the amount of $50,601. A revenue and expense decrease to State E911 Enhancement Fund, Fund 294, in the amount of $26,976. An increase to revenue expense to Fund 282, the Senior Center. A revenue and expense to Fund 217, Legislative Appropriation, Lincoln Park Improvement, in the amount of $65,000. An expense increase to 610 wastewater in the amount of $600,000. An expense increase to Fund 613, water construction, in the amount of $300,000. An expense increase to Fund 620, gas, in the amount of $600,000. An expense increase to Fund 627, gas construction, in the amount of $700,000. An expense increase to Fund 630 in the amount of $300,000. An expense increase to Fund 633 in the amount of $350,000. An expense increase to Fund 640, water, in the amount of $200,000. An expense increase to Fund 640, water distribution, in the amount of $500,000. An expense increase to Fund 647, water acquisition, in the amount of $500,000. And revenue and expenditure increase to Fund 241, Caesar and donations, in the amount of $7,345. And a transfer of budget from community development to code enforcement in the amount of $231,587.
And let the record show that Ms. Francine Martinez is present, as well as Dana Maynes. Thank you. Okay, where do we start?
I have a few questions.
That was a big one.
Is there a general, excuse me, Bob, is there a general reason for most of this? Is this, 3 months after we did the budget,
A
we get
lot
more
of
money?
these are new legislative appropriations that just got awarded, that weren't previously awarded when we were working on the budget. The funding just came through. So that's the majority of the ones that say the legislative appropriation, Fund 217. Those are the new legislative appropriations just approved.
A lot of this money is new money coming in, and some of it is due to changes that we have made within the organization, on our organizational chart. So that money is being moved around so that we can cover the expenses in those new departments where those employees are not working at. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Okay, I was looking at the backup document that was attached to this resolution. And there's summary sheets on that backup documentation. And I have several questions
Okay.
as a result of that. First question is, the special appropriations for the Riverwalk construction is a negative $5,261. Why is that negative?
Because it's a credit to the budget. Oh, that one. First
Yeah.
one. That project has ended and they didn't spend that money, so we have to revert that back to the agency.
Okay, so we have to give that back.
Yes.
But the project is done though, right?
It's done.
Okay.
That one closed. Sorry, I saw the wrong.
All right, my next question is that on several of them, over on the right-hand side, it has a phrase that says unbudgeted cash balance. And that is listed, oh, probably half a dozen times there. What does that phrase mean? Does that mean we're spending cash balances brought forward from prior years?
Yes, that was a cash balance that we weren't aware of after we had done the budget for the new year. And we were made aware after we had done the new budget for the new year that we did not pick up that cash balance and bring it forward. So now we're asking to bring it forward.
Okay, so those items listed as unbudgeted cash balances, that's a ton of money, Mr. Council. And so I'm assuming that money is available for new stuff per approval of the council. Okay?
Was that like after your audit and you brought in fund bal forward?
Yes,
So it was bal forward.
yeah, that's
Okay.
a balance forward. That was unspent.
Okay, my next question is, there is one that's called Enhanced 911. It adds up to minus 26,976. Again, why is that minus? That, to me, means we're lowering the budget in that category by 26,976.
That one, I am not aware of why that one was reduced. Probably it was, like the previous one, it ended, so we're reverting funds back.
Okay, it has a breakdown in the, in this backup document that talks about 911 enhancements minus 41,000, grant materials minus 3,000, I'm rounding off, travel expenses plus 2,000, and so on. So I'm assuming, and it all nets out to minus 26,976. I'm assuming that there's good cause to want to reduce that budget by that
Yes.
26,000.
That's where we're reducing, it states, as I read in the beginning, a revenue and expense decrease to that of the amount of 26,976.
Okay. All right.
So they're asking for a decrease. in
All right.
those funds.
And my last question is that at the very end of this detailed breakout, there is the transferring of funds between code enforcement and community development. But all of that adds up to $225,086, yet the resolution that we're being asked to look at says it's $231,000. There's a difference of about $6,500 between what the resolution says and what this detailed breakout says, and I was wondering why that's the case.
I was not aware of this, I did not work on this one. I would have to find out a reason why there is a difference of the $6,500.
It appears to me off the top of my head, and it's a mistake. And so, and it appears that if we are holding to the detailed breakout, then you need to change the number in this resolution to $225,067 rounded up. And so you might want to look at that.
Okay, I'll note that.
And that's my last question on this one.
Ms. Dinah?
Are we any closer to hiring a full-time finance director?
As far as I know, there's no applicants.
Is there any type of search going on, any type of,
It's been advertised.
Advertised?
And it's on our website.
some just on the website?
And I think the Municipal League website. It's been advertised in the update before. So, yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
And at the past meeting, I think I made the suggestion that the city consider a temporary hire to increase the people count in the finance department to help out with the workload while they're looking for an interim, or looking for a permanent, not an interim, finance director. And I don't know if any action's been put. And
Right.
it would be a temporary position, and the person who would apply for it would know that ahead of time, of course, that.
And I've made that recommendation to our city manager and mayor and council.
Okay, good. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Any other questions? Nancy? No?
No. A lot of stuff coming in from the legislature. Not a bad thing.
Mr. Franklin?
No, Mr. Chairman, I move to recommend approval to the council pending the correction of the resolution or the backup documentation pertaining to the transfer money between community development and code enforcement.
And I'll second
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We've got a first and a second. Roll call, please.
Dinah Minus,
Yes.
Alan Craig,
Yes?
Robert Ritter,
Yes.
Francina Martinez.
Yes.
All yes.
Motion passed. Next item on one, letter B, August finance report.
General fund for August. Budget, we have 13% of it. We're at 1,991,100. Expenditures to date for the year, we're at 15,182,546. That is 12% of the total year spent. Enterprise. We have for budget 2,654,237. That's 15% for the year. Expenditures are at 17,615,587. That is 11% for the year. We have a surplus of 487,913.17 cents. Recreation, we have a total budget, 82,147, that's 11% for the year. Expenditures is at 843,520. Surplus to date is 7,247. Keep in mind this has a transfer in from the general fund. Lodgers tax. Lodgers tax, total budget to date brought in 130,460. This is revenue. Expenditures for the period ending August is 639,918. That is 13% of the year. Surplus to date is 37,378.
We got it, but you were off one column.
Oh.
You were giving us the available balances instead of the expenditures,
Oh,
but
I'm
we
sorry.
have them here in front of you, we got the numbers, but just so you didn't put the spreadsheet together, this looks like Baqueta's work.
No, actually, I put it
Oh,
together.
you did, oh, okay.
I was, the first column, the first top, the budget is the same, so I, trying to rush, I read the F, column F, and it should have been column E. So column E, on all of your spreadsheets that are red are the actual expenditures for the month. The expenditures piece. I apologize for that, good catch. Would you like me to reread those?
Was that Eleanor?
Would you like me to reread those expenditures?
Yeah. Thank you. Questions? Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't know if it's okay.
Is this a spreadsheet that you put up together separately, or is it using a report writer function of your accounting software somehow?
It's all manually input.
Okay, that's what I thought. And to be honest with you, this doesn't do much for me. And if I were to put together a monthly report to show to the council, I would show some different stuff, similar but some different stuff and in a different way. And I probably would also put plots with it, not just columns of numbers. And I don't know if there would be any value with that. I would also be happy to sit down with somebody, talk to some of the members of this committee and even the councilors, and get an idea of what they would like to see from a financial report monthly, and then try to incorporate that. Is there any value to that on my part, doing that? I'd make an appointment with Dominic and sit down with him and/or the new person when we get him to try to put that report together.
We are looking into a budget. It hasn't been approved, we're just looking into it. That is kind of like a report writer, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's all for budget. It would show nice, pretty graphs and all of that, which you were talking about. And it's not manually, it pulls our figures off of Tyler and it puts it into easier terms to read.
Yes.
And see, and a bigger, better picture than what we're currently doing manually.
Okay. And there's gotta be, you know.
There's, I forgot what it's called. It works specifically with Tyler, and it imports the data. We've already had
Yeah.
like a training, like tutorial on it to see what it does. I don't know to the extent of if it's been brought up to the city manager. I'm sure it has, but that would be a really nice function that we could have instead of so much manual entry, and at the click of a button you can say what you want to look at, specific, and it even drills down instead of on a higher level. This we can drill down and click, well, I just want to look at this. It gives you more specific details, or also at the higher end, if you just want to see just top numbers.
That would be cool.
Yes.
And again, I would be willing to sit down and try to help with putting some of that together. And we'd probably go through an iterative process, especially driven by the council,
Yeah.
because they're the ultimate ones that need to see this
Yes.
and understand it.
That feature, I believe you all would enjoy it. It's nice. The company would actually help us set up, so it'll tie into our Tyler, and so they know what we're looking at, and they have somebody that comes in, so it's like a setup and startup fee and all of that. But I just don't know where we are in that process.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, where are you, and is there an implementation date, a purchase date?
I don't even know if they're even approved of the software yet. I do know that we have Darlene and I have previewed the software and we really liked it, but now it's, of course, at the approval.
If I may, Mr. Montoya, the modules, let's say you're with Tyler Technologies, right?
Yes.
So let's say you all paid for, I'm not sure what the amount is that you pay for your software per year, but there should be one for like HR that you pay, your accounts payable, your payroll, and your general ledger. Okay. That is not all sold in the package that you have with Tyler Technology right now?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if Tyler is capable of spitting out those kinds of reports.
Right. So what is it that you pay for then for Tyler Technology? Your annual invoice that is submitted to you. Or you're not in accounts payable, though, right?
No,
No.
so I wouldn't even be able to, the person that I tie you is our IT manager, and he could tell you probably, give you a better, and tell you what we pay for and what we get from Tyler.
Right,
You have Tyler also.
we do. That way there wouldn't be like an error on, developing. I can see what Mr. Withers says as
Oh,
far
yeah,
as.
this is
Right. This is
manually
how-
put all these numbers, we're a
Yes.
query, we pull them all in.
Yes.
Right.
So that would definitely come in handy.
Exactly, it's just.
Mr.
it
Montoya,
just
this is what you
comes
guys get, as far as a summary every month, correct?
Mhm.
The council does, yeah.
Yeah.
out. And sometimes when you get a brand new person, when you get the brand new finance director, that's when it's easiest to implement this you
Yeah.
go into this software.
Yeah.
Because that person knows no other way of doing this. How long have you all been
Forever.
operating
Yeah,
on something
forever.
like this?
Forever.
Right, see, so, and so when you get a new person, that's when you can make change.
We do have the finance booklet that you give us that's more of a breakdown by departments. And, how much it costs to operate each department, how many employees and how much benefits and all that kind of stuff. That's on a 1-inch binder that's broken down.
This is just a snapshot that kind of gives you an idea,
Yeah.
Right.
which,
Where are you going?
I mean,
It's a guideline.
you could make that so extensive, Bob, that they wouldn't get anything else done except review the financials.
Yeah.
So something that gives them a good idea, gives us a good idea where we stand, budget, net revenues, et cetera, without having to go to 40 pages and graphs. To me, sometimes, I don't know. A well-put-together, meaningful graph, yes. But there's a lot of bar charts that people throw at you, and they're just, they need to be meaningful.
Well, and for example, one document that would be meaningful to me would be, let's take the first page, the general ledger, the general fund. It would have 12 months across the x-axis. The y-axis would be dollar amount, and it would show the expenditures by month, both budgeted and actuals. And as the year progresses, the first one presented in August for July would have all 12 dots for the budgeted amount each month, but then it would have 1 dot for July, and then next month 2 dots for July and August actuals. It would also, I know you can see it here, but it would also highlight the fact that the council has approved a deficit general fund budget for the year. The budget is income of 2.55 million and expenditures of 2.87 million. And as some new revenue comes in during the year, you would adjust the budgeted amount to take that into account. And to me, some people are visual with the graph. Other people, and maybe even mostly this committee, would be more interested in the actual numbers that and so and how it breaks out below top line numbers. And so there are various ways, and I do agree that if like you're doing now, you're making this as a separate document, yeah, you don't want to make it hugely difficult to do that. Somebody's spending all month trying to produce this 40-page document, as you said, that a lot of people aren't going to look at. But I think there's a much better way we could do this, in my humble opinion. So, and I'm just offering myself to help put something like that together, and we test drive it here at this committee level, and then take it to the council.
What we really need is software, because what you're saying is still manual entry. It's still going to take the same amount of work, or probably even more, to show that kind of a detail, and which I really don't have the time to be making graphs. I'm just trying to spit out, as quick as I can because I have to move on to the next project. I don't have very much time to be spending on those, the fancy and the easier for your pleasure to read. And I get it, but we need a software where at one click of a button, you can get it to say, okay, well, I just needed X, Y, and Z. I didn't need A through whatever. It drills down. What we need is, what I'm looking for is clicks of a button and grabbing and pulling.
Sure.
I can't be, yeah, sure, they're nice, the other way manual, but still, that's taking away, how much time do you really want us accountants when there's just two of us and it's a big budget? We have other stuff, it's kind of like priorities. Where do you sit your priorities at?
So do you know how much this software package?
They
That goes
did
with that.
say it. We had a meeting, I'm gonna say probably over a month ago. They did spit out numbers. Dominic has those numbers, and I'm sure he could give you those numbers. I just haven't been working
Okay.
with, the person on the other end. So I can't even tell you. I see so much numbers every day, I couldn't even tell you what's what. But I strongly suggested to Dominic that day that we need that kind of software. That's something that, we could all use for the council meetings, for this meeting, for anybody. We get a lot of inquiries on budget. Instead of me spending a half an hour to an hour running reports just to get information, one click of a button would do it for us.
Right. Yeah, it sounds to me like a no-brainer. We need to get that
Yes.
software.
So I'm hopefully, you push for us to help get that software so we can, be more efficient. And that's what I'm trying to get at, is be more efficient.
Yeah.
Just to
You
point out,
have to feed it.
Mr. Witter,
Yes.
You
is,
need another person.
Yes, they have a person that would be our dedicated consultant and work one-on-one with us to see if the reporting, whatever they fed into the system, is it matching ours? It's gonna be probably over a 2-month period where we work with them. That's to just get it fed and set up. And that's not even learning how to work the software. That's just implementation.
Or you might need another person to help here, okay, internally,
Yes.
to start to feed
Because
it.
the implementation phase, that's a full-time job right there.
Just somebody that's going to be.
and there is a
reporting the
position
data.
available there, right now. There's still a position open there,
Where?
to assist you guys there in finance.
I believe they took it down, they closed it.
They closed it. Did someone apply, or
I don't know.
no?
I haven't seen the accountant position advertised in a while, and nobody's been hired, so I don't know the reason why it was taken down.
And Eleanor, Mr. N, did you send the council members the same information that we're getting as far as the individual breakdowns of all expenses, the checks per the month?
No, council does not receive that. This is just specific to finance committee. This is- it
They
was
requested it, I think at the last meeting, so,
So Dominic did not mention?
yeah, okay.
So, I can run it for him and have it ready, but I'm not sure if it's even on the agenda. So if it's not on the agenda, he can't present it.
It's-
So I'm not sure.
How does it
who-
read under
No, I know,
finance?
I understand that, but I'm
Yes.
just giving you a heads up.
Okay,
You check with Dominic or check with Leo.
okay.
But council did request that same listing. They want to know more into the budget and where the breakdowns are on what we're paying out every month. So,
Good.
I mean,
Sure, transparency.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great.
I'll check with Dominic. I'm not sure, it could be possibly on the meeting, and I'm just not aware since I don't do the council meetings.
And for the record, Eleanor, I commend you and
Sure.
Dominic for
like me
taking on this
personally, whenever I have an
responsibility.
issue
I just
just
back
go to
off a
director
little bit
rights.
because it's, I feel like you
I'm gonna
have to do your own job and then now
I
you're
was
having to step
traveling
into
last
this
month.
other job.
So I didn't get a
I
chance
think
to
I'd
do
be
that.
going
but
crazy.
I was
That's
hoping to
why.
actually make an appointment with Dominic.
So that's why I just,
Since he's not
first
here,
thing
I'll-
that
I'll get
comes out of my
with him.
mouth is have they hired somebody? Because that way we can address all
I
our
could hear
questions to that
your
person,
input last meeting,
you know,
and I was
so,
gonna do that
good job.
after we
Thank
got
you, we're
back from
trying.
the long trip to Michigan.
A lot of work.
Short-handed.
Yes.
That is hard. Yep.
We're managing, we get it through, we're a little later, but we get it through. And
Don't give up on that package that, I'm sure that Tyler does have.
yeah, I'm not even sure, they probably
They should.
even do them.
I can't imagine that being an expensive module to add either. A report writer, query,
Yeah,
query,
Or so, like, probably
Alan, you guys
7,000,
are
6,000,
shorthanded?
or, you know.
By one person for the,
Well, the director.
well, yeah,
position.
of course.
So now, because of that, and that director position has a lot, you know,
Oh, yes,
just in
definitely.
itself.
Oh, I know that.
Yes,
Yeah.
so can you imagine, we have our own full-time positions that we have to worry out. Now we have to help pick up the pieces for a director that has probably, I'm gonna say, over a full-time FTE. So we're trying to manage.
Mr. Rand, do you need an approval on this budget or no?
No, this
Okay.
does not go to council.
Okay, go ahead and go on to letter C.
All right, letter C is our AP check listing. Is there any questions after reviewing the listing that you have?
You look at Mr. Winters.
Question
no,
on the AP list?
no,
No, none?
no.
Okay.
What I was planning to do
Surprise!
was not take the time of this August group. I was gonna go to Dominic and
Good.
ask him.
Good.
Again, that was a suggestion made last time, and I was gonna give that a shot.
Okay.
I probably will change my modus operandi when we get a new full-time person,
Yeah.
but I didn't wanna take the time of this group.
But if there's something that you feel that this committee needs to know
No.
about or whatever, you need to let us know and bring it
And I
out
read
here.
through it with that idea in mind, and I don't think there's anything the committee here needs to be
Okay.
involved in at this point.
All righty. So we'll move on to letter D, which is next meeting. Is there anything anyone else wants to discuss or that has new or old business? Mr. Franklin, no?
I have a couple quick things that maybe we can discuss next meeting. First of all, it's the cannabis gross receipts tax. Did I hear properly in the past that the city will be notified after the first quarter on what the first quarter receipts were and the GRT that was generated, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And how we are to budget for that.
And so then you're going to add that to the budget.
The cannabis, I had to remove that. If you want to see cannabis budget, it's a completely different fund per the request of DFA. So, we didn't know that until we ran with that first month and we included cannabis with the rest of our GRTs. But after consulting and reading, we discovered cannabis is its own fund and it's not reported in the general fund. Or enterprise, it's its fund all by itself.
Yes, that's what I thought. Thank you for saying that, because that clears up something for me, too. So, but would next month be a good time to talk about it? Or should we wait 2 months and then put it on the agenda for that 2
Well, the
months?
quarter is
So
at
do you
the end of
wanna-
this month, right? First quarter is September 30th?
Yes.
Yeah, but they won't, will you know numbers for the first quarter by next meeting? Which is what, October 17th?
Yes.
All right, let's put it on the list if we could, Mr. Chairman, to talk about the cannabis.
And what can you spend it on?
Yeah, well, you have the guidelines and the,
Yeah,
breakdown.
how can you budget it? How can you budget the cannabis?
Well, we won't know what kind of, I guess, in terms of revenue, what they want us to report out. Yes, we're still waiting on clearer guidance. That's all they said is they instructed us to wait till the end of the first quarter for budgeting. And I'm assuming we'll hear something in letter format from them saying and advising how we are to budget for that.
Wasn't there an estimation that they sent out?
No,
No? Okay.
They
Was
didn't
that-
even-
That was, must have been for something else. For
yes, they didn't even want us estimating for the
Bills.
quarter.
Does anybody have an idea? Anybody want to take a shot at it? What do you all think it's going to be? Because it has to come from the county first, you all said, right? Needs to come this way, right?
I believe so, that's what it
It's
said.
everybody hoping for it.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But you are.
And do they have everybody on board over there?
You started seeing revenue from it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Last year.
So is it not in a suspense account on our reports, or is it just off,
Well-
off the sheets, off
Well,
balance sheet?
it's on our balance sheet, it's just not reported with the general fund, it's in its own separate fund
Okay.
as per the request of DFA. It's to be kept separate, and they
Okay.
don't want it with
Great.
anything else.
So
So
can
it
we get one of
sits-
these for a separate fund?
Yes, if you want me reporting and showing you the cannabis every month, I can do that, and
Okay.
I can include that.
Sure. We're just
Well, I
curious
think-
since this is all brand new.
Oh, yeah, but I think the council would want to see that as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
not necessarily for us, our edification, it's
Yeah.
just, I think the city should start planning on that money and seeing,
Yeah,
is it
You're gonna have a lot of
substantial,
people
is it?
curious, yeah. They're gonna wanna know what it's being used for and.
That other one for the, what was it, the pills, drugs, what was that one?
The-
Mental,
Which one?
social,
The one
emotional.
for the pills, for those drugs that, anyway, there
You
was
mean
a.
the lawsuit?
Yeah, there was
over,
a reimbursement to every municipality for.
Oh, for the,
Opioids.
yeah.
The drugs.
Right,
And I think that one came in at, what was it, 160?
a one-timer though?
One time, yeah.
160,000?
I think so.
I don't know.
So that one, we still gotta determine how we're gonna utilize that.
And my wild wag,
There's already,
based on just a couple of months last year, is that it's gonna be in the cannabis is gonna be in the above 75 grand a year. And that's probably a low number.
As
Because-
of July and August, we have brought in a total of $17,021.
So times 6 is, okay, it's a little over 75 grand. Right now, like its current run rate.
And there's dispensaries still opening up, whether that will help increase sales or just split it
Yeah,
between.
redistribute it a
Yeah,
different way.
redistribute it, remains to be seen.
Mhm.
okay.
And then, I have one other thing for next time, if we could talk
Okay.
about it, is that, has the city at all made a reimbursement request to whoever the right organization is for wildfire and flood reimbursement expenses?
I do know we've been in touch with FEMA. They have asked us to track our expenditures. I know they are tracking them. I believe it's through utilities. I'm not sure if we've actually made a formal expense yet out.
Okay. What I might request, Mr. Chairman, for next time is that we see what the latest number is, based on the city's calculation and accumulation of costs. Because right now, my understanding is that whatever that amount of money is, and I'm expecting it to be pretty hefty, is coming out of the general fund as a loan, so to speak, that will be reimbursed at some point. But it could have a significant impact on the general fund until the governmental agency starts opening the spigots and starts paying for some of those costs. And I'm assuming they're going to allow us to submit periodically, like once a quarter, and get reimbursed a little while after the end, for example, of a quarter. And so the cost that, the cash that the city has to float waiting for that reimbursement will be less than it actually is right now, because I got a feeling it might be pretty high right now.
Oh, yes.
And again, if I would expect that maybe, because that number's pretty big, somebody needs to go knocking on some doors and saying, give us permission to start turning this in and get reimbursements on a quarterly or a monthly basis, something like that. Anyway, that would be up to the council.
We've already been getting reimbursements on that?
Have we? I don't know.
No.
I don't know if
Okay,
they've even
okay. That's
submitted
good.
anything. Last I know, this is, FEMA was here.
Right.
We had a meeting, but you had to get all the paperwork started. And you know, with the federal government, how long just to get the paperwork started, it takes quite a while. And I do know that Maria Gilberry, our utilities director, was working with FEMA to start isolating those costs, and I just don't know where they are in that process.
Okay.
Is it just one person that submits the request for reimbursement?
I don't even know who's working
Who
on
it
that.
is?
I'm assuming that's gonna be the person that's working on the grants. I believe they're putting him to do that. I don't even know who's submitting those requests.
That would be Maria and Leo that are working on those. I know they have tapped into the governor's fund already. I don't know if we received anything or not, but like that recycling a water system, filtering system, that one's already up to $2 million, or close to $2 million. And they've already submitted all the paperwork to get reimbursed for that. And I'm sure there's other agencies and other things that we have already submitted for reimbursement. We submitted ours also for employees.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are coming out of the general fund or out of the each department, but eventually they'll be reimbursed back to the city.
We hope.
Oh, they will.
It's the government. We're here to help you.
Okay, next item is adjournment.
I move that we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do we have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, and our next meeting will be October the 17th, same place, same time.
Okay. Same time.
And make some phone calls, see if you find a director for us.
Well, I would,
Shake the bushes.
now, Dinah, when the school advertises, sometimes they go outside of the website of the school, and they advertise on teachers' websites and things like that.
It's called.
Does the city do that? Or
We
just-
had a company that I think was willing to do it for nationwide.